Welcome to Green TV, the show dedicated to positive solutions and the people who advocate for them. I'm Angela Trusty, your host for this evening. Tonight, we're at a very special location. We're here at Good Buddy Gallery on 410 Florida Avenue Northwest in the Howard University Shaw neighborhood of Washington, D.C. We're here tonight in this space because we're going to be talking about a very special artist. First, this space is only able to exist because of the support of Weberman and Dorman architects. This space is a location where artists are able to display art of many varieties to express themselves and to add culture to their neighborhood. Tonight, we're talking about a very special man named Lunda and his associates who have created this beautiful art exhibit. Here to tell his story is Louise Meyer. Hi, Louise. Welcome to the show.
Hi, Angela.
So, Louise, welcome to the show.
Thank you.
We're very excited to have you here this evening. I had an opportunity with you to walk around this beautiful installation. Before we talk about the artwork, tell us about Lunda, the environmentalist and the artist.
All right. Lunda is a young man who's had a difficult life. He was born in the Democratic Republic of the Congo, and because of the war that's still going on, he had to flee at the age of 18. And he saw almost everyone in his family being massacred and almost lost his life as well. He fled and looked for a safe place to be, and that ended up being in Longongora refugee camp in Zimbabwe, which is, you have to cross several countries to get there. And he found a newsletter in the refugee camp which contained my picture and my address. And he had made the connection between deforestation and the use of a tool that doesn't need firewood for cooking food. And this was a kind of, I guess, a eureka moment in his life. And he then somehow figured out he could write to the NGO that had a cooker, a solar cooker, and obtain one. And then he started writing to me, and one of the first things he sent me was who he was, and this impressive drawing I showed you earlier of different people from the entire world holding their hand up to the sun, showing that the sun is our salvation, if you wish. Now, this is mostly in reference to people that live between the Tropic of Capricorn and the Tropic of Cancer, around the equator, where you have 300 and more days of sunlight in the year that would allow you to cook 1 or 2 meals without spending any money or without cutting down trees, because that's what happens. People cut down trees and use the firewood or make the wood into charcoal.
So he saw this newsletter where it was talking about the work that you do. He saw this is a solution for what's going on in my neighborhood, and felt like he should reach out.
Yes, and I think reaching out was quite an effort, because he's not someone who can earn money. You don't have any opportunity to earn money as a refugee, which meant he probably had to sell some of the food he's donated to get some money to buy the envelope, to buy the stamps, to send this drawing that was on a recycled paper.
Why do you think he decided to use art as his medium for expression? You know, and I can imagine myself reaching out to someone. I might just write a letter, but why did he use art?
Oh, I think art is like therapy when you're in a desperate situation. You know, it just heals you. It's like the method of communication is the right one. He also writes a lot of essays. I have probably 60 essays he's written in poetry about every topic you can imagine. When I got these letters, all written by hand, of course, I thought he was maybe a teacher. And I remember writing him saying, "Are you a teacher? You seem to be so well informed." He said, no, I'm no job. But it sounded to me like he was reading The Economist. I doubt that The Economist gets to the refugee camp, but who knows? I don't know. And there's no internet access in the camp. Now we have been communicating with internet for the past 3 years, and he has a long, maybe 3-hour walk just to get to the internet site to be able to communicate with me.
So this very first when he reached out, he sent you this beautiful drawing. But as we sit here in this wonderful gallery, there are several drawings.
Yes, I have.
So talk to us about this history.
Yes, I have probably 60 or more drawings that have come to me over the past 9 years. It'll soon be 10 years that I've been in communication with Lunda.
Wow.
And I noticed that the drawings all have a different hand, and he's not the artist himself. He has the concept, and he gets other refugees in the camp to do the art. There's a lot of talent in the camp.
It seems like it.
And I have the names of about 6 of the other artists, but I don't communicate with them. I only communicate with him, and our communication's rather short because he has to pay for the use of the internet, so it's not like lengthy. The lengthy essays I've gotten from him were snail mailed to me, right? So the drawings, he thinks of the story behind the drawing. I have comics that are right behind you, and this beautiful drawing here that just everyone has the right to safe cooking. And this lovely lady, and it's all done with just color pencils, very, very carefully. And then he knows that I have a nonprofit organization, so he indicates the name of the nonprofit and says we need to make donations to the nonprofit so that we can spread further the word of this simple technology that protects the earth and protects the trees, because without the trees, there's erosion and climate change.
So you mentioned that he is the one, there are other artists, but he's the one who has the concept. And as I've looked at the various paintings, many of them have this message of safe cooking.
Yes.
Why do you think he's so drawn to that?
Because he knows that in the countries he lived in, like the DRC, and the countries he traversed, and the Zimbabwe, that 80% of the population uses firewood to cook. So there's a very small part of and you can calculate how much wood you need every day to cook for your family of 8 or 10 or 15 people. And that impacts everything. That impacts the removal of the trees, impacts the wildlife. You know, in the case of the DRC and the Congo, both, it's the home of the orangutans, you know, and the gorillas, and they won't have a habitat anymore. They're impacted. And then he has great feelings for the lives of women. Rural women are the ones that are charged with going to get firewood, and they take their children, they take their daughters mostly, because that means the daughters can't go to school because they have to help mom collect firewood.
Just having this domino
Yeah, and the
here.
firewood is carried on their heads, and then by the time you come back from collecting firewood, which can take up 3 days a week, you know, of your time, you still have to do everything else. You have to cook the food, do the laundry, and everything's done over firewood. Yeah.
I do want to remind viewers that we are here with Louise Meyer in the Good Buddy Gallery at 410 Florida Avenue in the northwest area of Washington, D.C. This is right in the Shaw Howard University neighborhood. We're learning about an artist named Lunda, who is also an environmentalist here at this beautiful art installation. Louise, we're very excited that we're here and able to speak with you about this. We've talked a little bit about Lunda's beginnings. We've talked a little bit about his purpose. Where is he going with all of this?
All right. This is his hope was to gain asylum. Refugees always hope to gain asylum. So he had, over the years that he's been in the camp, which is now half his life. Wow. So he's now 37. He got there when he was like 19, 20 years old.
Does he have family in the refugee camp?
No, he's, refugees that are in that limbo situation that don't know what's going to happen tomorrow. Don't start families if they're intelligent, because they don't have enough to survive themselves. They don't have enough food to survive themselves. So it would be foolish to start a family. You might need it emotionally. You know what I'd like to do, Angela? I asked him, I said, I'm going to have this exhibit in a real gallery, because originally I put together this exhibit and it traveled to high schools in the Washington, D.C. area.
Wonderful.
Social studies teachers in high schools assisted me in bringing it to their students. And then this is the first time it's actually in a gallery. So it's a different audience. But I said, what do you want me to say to the audience at the opening? The opening was 2 weeks ago. So he just said, tell the visitors that I'm a Congolese man, I'm 37 years old, I fled my country, the Democratic Republic of the Congo, at the age of 18. I've never known a normal life since then because I've spent most of my life fleeing from war zones. My homeland is still a country where dialogue takes place through the mouths of guns. So many people have been killed. I almost lost everything during the war myself, except my life and hope. He lost his family members, friends, livestock, fields, neighbors. Some of his family members have gone missing. Some have died. He buried some of them in forests and along the road. Sadly, he says he'll never be able to go back to put flowers on their graves. For him, he does not need a dictionary to know what it means, what the meaning of war, hunger, persecution, torture, and killing. I am an eyewitness to human suffering. So he says he arrived in the year 2000 and was offered refuge at the Lunda refugee camp, which is close to the border of Mozambique, 500 miles south of the capital of Zimbabwe, which is Harare. Why are you so interested in environmental issues? For the common good and future of mankind, he wishes that people to become more environmentally and socially conscious. That's why he says he writes poems, including drawings and comics, and engages his fellow refugees to help him. I love the environment, he says, because our lives come from the earth. Our health depends on the health of the planet. If we pollute our waters, if we kill our animals, if we destroy our trees, the earth will recycle itself and chuck us out. Now I found that very powerful. His language is not English. His language, his mother tongue is French, which is what they speak in the DRC.
And yeah, we see all these essays in
yes,
English.
and very well written, by the way. And I had the good fortune a few years ago of getting someone from National Geographic to discover these drawings. And so a very good essay was written, and I'll give you a copy of it. And the author of it, Becky Harlan, interviewed him by email. She wanted to call him up. I said, no, there's no way you can
There's no way to do that.
There's no way to call up a refugee. But she asked him very pertinent questions. You know, and he spoke. I have pages and pages of all these things.
It sounds like one of the things, as you read that, what you shared during the opening, that he's bringing hope to his community in a way, and he's using this environmental activism and this artistic expression to give others a voice, maybe perhaps give others some meaning outside of what's
Angela,
happening in the
you
camp.
hit the nail on the head, exactly. It's to give others a voice, and this is what's so extraordinary about this exhibit, and why I'm so delighted to have it here, is because we never hear anything from refugees. We only know there are refugees, and we feel bad about them. We don't know how to help them. We don't know what they're thinking or saying. And here we have this opportunity to hear what they're thinking and saying. And nobody told them what to do or say. It's all just from themselves. And I think it's this issue of not losing hope, knowing that this is how I have to express myself.
Now, as we're winding down our conversation, this installation has been live for 2 weeks now.
Yeah.
What's the reception been like?
Oh, the reception's been very good, but this is the best yet because now I get to have it televised on Green TV.
Yeah, that's great.
I'm hoping, it's up for another week, and I hope to get some students here. I really think it's a topic. He says it himself. This is our world is good. The problems that we've created with our environmental devastation is going to have to be solved for the youth. The coming generation, of which you are one. Because we've done a bad job, of abusing Mother Earth. Yeah.
Well, if people who are watching, if they feel moved by this story about Lunda, tell us are there any ways that people can get involved? What are the times that the gallery is open for them to come visit?
Yes.
What can people do?
Okay. The best way to find out about this particular topic in this show is to go to the blog, and I will give you connection to the blog, because the blog shows a lot of the art and a lot of the essays on it. It's a blog, not a website, but it's almost like a website, and you can express yourself, write comments. Mm-hmm. Unfortunately, he can't see the blog because it requires too much
internet connectivity.
Internet connectivity, so he can't see it.
Okay.
I have this exhibit in the high schools in DC area, and the young man that made the blog was a high school senior, and his teacher assigned him as this high school graduation project to do the blog, and to write an essay and to speak about this Lunda in front of the student body, and he did all of that. So I'm very grateful to this young student, who himself is an immigrant from Africa to the United States.
So there's some connectivity there.
Yeah,
as well.
and they've become friends through email too. Yeah, it's very beautiful.
And I think just one last thing, I heard that he's trying to get an internship in South Africa, is that right?
Yes, well, since it's impossible to get asylum, they're just, maybe 6 years ago or 8 years ago, before the Syria crisis broke out, there was some hope that we get asylum for him, but now there's none. I found an internship for him with an associate of my NGO in South Africa that is a businessman who promotes solar cooking and all kinds of solar installations, photovoltaic and many full solar lighting, and he's agreed to take Lunda as an intern.
Wonderful.
So this is something that's going to happen very soon. We're just waiting to get travel papers. He can't travel without some document because he doesn't exist. He's not like us. We have our driver's license and our passports. He has nothing. So it's too dangerous to travel with nothing. The United Nations High Commission for Refugees had an office in Harare, the capital, and they have to provide him with travel documents that allow him to cross the border and get to this location in South Africa where he has his internship.
Okay. Well, just being here in this wonderful gallery, anyone whose mind is as bright as Lunda's, I just don't think that the refugee camp, the tragedies of war, I don't think anything can hold him back.
No.
So we are very excited to have had you on the show to get to learn a little bit more about his art, his activism, and to see this beautiful space here. So thank you again.
Thank you,
so
Angela.
much for joining us. Again, this is Green TV. We are here at Good Buddy Gallery. This is 410 Florida Avenue Northwest in the Howard University Shaw area. We hope that you'll come and visit this beautiful exhibit.
Between 1/3 and 1/2 of the world's population do not have any infrastructure for cooking. They continue cooking as did our ancestors more than 100 years ago, with just using biomass, wood, coal, to cook food for the family. So this occupation today can take up 2 entire days a week just going out to get firewood. I was up in the Sahel region of the Ivory Coast, and my task was to improve the lives of women that had the ability to earn a small income from artisanal work. In the end, they had no time to do this work because they were burdened with looking for firewood to be able to cook food for their families and heat water for bathing. That's what actually got me started in looking for a solution. And of course, this, even though this was quite a long time ago, there was already the huge concern of deforestation. I read about solar cooking in the newspaper when I was living in Switzerland. I had my eureka moment and said, aha, that's the solution. Solar cooking isn't new. It's been around for probably 20 or 30 years. It has acquired a bad reputation because a lot of the projects that tried to introduce it didn't invest the time and money in the training element. They gave the technology to people thinking that they would just know how to use it. And now we're dealing with rural populations that don't go out and buy a whole lot of new products. These are people with a very small income. Even in rural Mexico, if people can scramble together $3 to $5 a day, they feel very lucky. And so putting together enough money to actually buy a $35 solar cooker, and they've never heard of solar cooking, is something they're just not going to do. It's too risky.
Mi nombre es Obdulia Acuña. Yo soy Norma Suárez. Nosotros quedamos, mi compañera y yo, para capacitar a otras personas, incluso en otras comunidades. Y aquí salimos casa por casa visitándolas para ver si le están dando uso a los hornos solares.
We have trainers in different parts of Mexico who are local trainers. Part of our introductory program is to set up a demonstration in a village, and you set up maybe 5 or 10 pots, and in each pot you're cooking something different, and you have a training manual and visuals to show to people how is this working, and when they look in the pot they see the food cooking, they see the water boiling, they see that raw chicken that is now being cooked, or the vegetables that are being cooked, or the bread that's baking, they see it. She's primary goal is to get entrepreneurs to look at solar cooking as a lucrative business. We haven't gotten there yet, but that is our long-term goal. We see that the world's petroleum resources are diminishing and the prices are increasing. Every family using petroleum products knows exactly how much they're spending every month. So there's this awareness, and people will be very careful about saving. The huge portion of the world that is obliged to live with $1 a day. Those people often have to choose on spending that dollar on food or on fuel, because there's not enough for both. We have quotes from people that say, I can no longer afford fuel. I can't cook anymore. I'm going to have to eat avocados and bread. So there are health implications and financial implications that are very significant. Entrepreneurs get a wind of this, that people can cook they can cook a portion of their meals, their daily meals, 1 or 2 meals a day without spending any money at all, because they're using the sun as a source of fuel, that they can reduce their cost for gas enough to pay for the solar cooker. That it would be a lucrative business to get into.
The sun. Every day, the sun shines more than 3 trillion watts of free energy on the Earth. That's enough energy to power over 3 million homes for an entire year, being produced every day. Solar panels harness the energy and convert it into clean electricity to power our homes, businesses, and lifestyles. Light from the sun stimulates electrons on a solar panel. These electrons create DC, or direct current electricity. Solar electricity travels from the panels on your roof through an inverter to the circuit breaker panel of your building. An inverter changes DC electricity into usable AC, or alternating current, electricity before sending it to the breaker panel of your building. Your home uses that electricity to power the electronic devices we use every day. It's like having your own power plant on your roof with an endless supply of clean energy. Anytime the panels are producing more energy than you are using, like sunny days when you are on vacation, the excess energy is sent back to your utility company, where they are required to buy back your excess electricity at the same rates they would normally charge, a concept called net metering. The utility company purchases your excess solar electricity and sells that energy to homes and businesses in your neighborhood. Even homes and businesses that do not have solar panels are still buying your excess solar electricity. When the sun goes down, your home or business purchases electricity from your local utility company the same way it has in the past. However, credits from your excess solar energy produced during the day will offset nighttime charges, which are much cheaper than peak daytime rates. This maximizes your savings through time of use billing, where you are selling energy to the utility during daytime peak hours while buying energy during nighttime off-peak hours. Instead of buying electricity from a power plant that burns coal and other pollutants, you are taking advantage of the free, abundant energy of the sun. As energy rates continue to go up, Your system produces clean, renewable energy at no cost to you. Now you get to choose how much to spend on electricity. Imagine if we could do that with gasoline prices. Today, there are some incredible incentives and rebate to help pay for solar installation. Finance programs can help you install panels for as little as $500 down. Increase the value of your home or business by reducing your energy costs. Businesses will increase profits, while homeowners will increase their home's market value. Help save the environment and reduce global warming. Start producing your own clean energy. For more information, visit Solar Buddy's system quote page to see how solar will benefit your home or business today.
I'm Angela Trusty, your host for tonight. We'll see you next time.